Good evening. It's 7 o'clock here, and we are at the Tibet Center, Kunshab Tarduling, and we're in our parsonage in South Orange, New Jersey, and this is our twice weekly presentation of the Buddha Dharma. And tonight we have two topics. From Words of My Perfect Teacher, we have a little bit of compassion and prep meditation, and then we have a meditation on emptiness, which is an excellent analytical meditation from His Holiness Dalai Lama's book, From Here to Enlightenment, which reiterates the lectures he gave at Lehigh College in the early 21st century, I think, somewhere, but it's modern. All the prayers we say are on our website, right at the front page. Click on prayers. If there's anyone who has passed away recently and you want us to pray for them, put their names in the chat box as soon as possible, and then when we say Sutra, the Recollection of the Three Jewels, we'll remember them. So the first prayer is prayer for the spreading of the teachings throughout the length and breadth of the West. By the force of the blessings of the non-fallacious three precious gems and of the truth of our pure selfless wishes, may the precious Buddhist teachings flourish and spread to the expanse of all areas throughout the length and breadth of the West, for all the people living there, together with their near ones, who have engaged in the teachings and have faith and respect for them. May all conditions adverse to their practice of the pure Dharma be dispelled, and an excellent collection of favorable conditions increase like the waxing moon. And especially for those who work on methods to accomplish the flourishing and spreading of the victorious one's teachings, which are the source of benefit and happiness, may they never be oppressed by masses of interference and adverse conditions, and may this spontaneously happen just as we have hoped and wished. The Heart Sutra. Thus have I heard once. The Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of the Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a big gathering of great monks and great bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the samadhi which examines the Dharma, called profound illumination. And at the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the profound practice of transcendent knowledge, saw the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Avalokiteshvara, "How should those noble ones learn who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge?" And Avalokiteshvara answered, "Venerable Shariputra, whoever wishes to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge should look at it like this, seeing the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Form is empty, emptiness itself is form. Emptiness is not separate from form. Form is not separate from emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discriminating awareness, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Thus, all the dharmas are empty and have no characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, since there is emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discriminating awareness, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no objects of mind, no quality of sight, no quality of hearing, no quality of smelling, no quality of tasting, no quality of sensing, no quality of thought, no quality of mind consciousness. There are no nidhanas from ignorance to old age and death, nor their wearing out. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, since there is no attainment, the bodhisattvas abide by means of transcendent knowledge, and since there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. They transcend falsity and pass beyond the bound of sorrow. All of the Buddhas dwell in the past, present, and future by means of transcendent knowledge, fully and clearly awakened to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of transcendent knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequal mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for there is no deception. In transcendent knowledge, the mantra is proclaimed, Tayata Om Gate Gate Para Sam Gate Bodhisoha. O Shariputra, this is how a Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn profound transcendent knowledge. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and praised the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family, profound, transcendent knowledge should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering and the world with its gods, humans, Asuras, and Gandharvas, their hearts full of joy, praise the words of the Blessed One. Refuge in Bodhisattva vow under the title Generating Bodhicitta, we say these verses 3 times. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Now, as is our custom, we say one round, one mala's worth of Om Mani Padme Hum, the mantra of Avalokiteshvara, who personifies great compassion. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani. Om Mani Padme Hum. So, as promised, the 2 contributors to tonight's talk is Zapatro Rinpoche and His Holiness Dalai Lama. Now, Patro Rinpoche's book is sometimes I call him Blood and Guts Patro Rinpoche, because he talks about how beings suffer and how they are attacked, how they bleed, how they do this and that, etc. So, this is a section called Wisdom Through Reflection, and the title of the book is, in English, Words of My Perfect Teacher. In Tibetan it's known as Kunsang Lame Jalong, or Shelong sometimes they say. What do I know? We'll start with a basic piece of information, just how you should sit. This is from page 251. 3 lines, very clever. When the body is straight, the channels are straight. Okay? When the channels are straight, the energies running through them are straight. They're not impeded by knots or whatever. When the energies are straight, the mind is straight. So there's a correlation here between your posture sitting properly and the way your mind functions, since it is captured in the human body until you do such things as to make it go somewhere else and come back. That's something else. So he said, do not lie down or lean against anything, but sit straight upright in a relaxed manner, not West Point style. Marines are like this, sir. No, just straight. Upright, your mind free from any thought, if you can, and rest in equanimity in a state where there is no grasping to anything, rather, he said. That is the essence of transcendent concentration. Yes, that's the goal. Of course, you're going to sit there and the mind's going to run and put on quite a show. That's normal. Don't run after all these thoughts. You're a neutral observer and you can care less, whatever. So, wisdom through reflection. Bottom of page 251. You learn through hearing, reflecting, and meditating. Okay, so reflection means something technical, and he's giving you a little advice. This means not only listening to what the teacher has taught and understanding it, but subsequently reviewing it in your mind and clearly establishing the meaning through reflection, examination, and analysis. And we're going to do that tonight on the topic of emptiness. An analysis, and asking questions about what you don't understand. It's important. Make sure you understand properly. So teachers should always be open to questions. Teachers that know what they're doing. I don't, so don't question me. But it's not enough, as our patrol says, just to suppose that you know or understand some particular subject. You should make absolutely sure that when the time comes to practice in solitude, you'll be able to manage on your own without needing to ask anyone to clarify certain points. So you take your time with the prep. And now he gives us some little aphorisms to carry us through, set us up. Page 252, Wisdom through Meditation is the subheading. Through meditation, as you gain practical experience of what you have understood intellectually, the true realization of the natural state develops in you without any mistake. You did all the prep, now it's time to internalize everything. And you should come up with the right realization. Certainty is born from within. Liberated from confining doubts and hesitation, you see the very face of the natural state. Careful analysis and everything, and then sitting on conclusion that you made realistically, and we'll go through that from His Holiness. That gives you certainty. Having first eliminating, Patrol continues, all your doubts through hearing and reflection, you come to the practical experience of meditation and see everything as empty forms without any substantiality, as in the 8 similes of illusion. When we look at it out at the world, we should think in terms of the 8 similes of illusion. What are they? Number 1, as in a dream, all the external objects perceived with the 5 senses are not there but appear through delusion. Not there as we think they are. Something is there. In other words, you couldn't tell someone to go to the corner and get me an ice cream. It's simple. As in a magic show, things are made to appear by a temporary conjunction of causes, circumstances, and connections. As in a visual aberration, something wrong with your eye, things appear to be there, yet there is nothing. As in a mirage, things appear but are not real. As in an echo, as in an echo, things can be perceived but there is nothing there, either outside or inside. That's one of the similes they use. As in the city of Gandharvas, there is neither a dwelling nor anyone to dwell. These are supposedly musicians, etc., and these beings that only meditators can see, whatever, I have no idea. As in a reflection, things appear but have no reality of their own. Yes, your face in the mirror. It's not you, but it's you in a certain way. It's useful. When you're not in there, you can't fit,
Tony.
What?
You know Buddy? I have a full-length mirror in my closet.
And what does he do?
Buddy
is a cat. But tell people Buddy is a cat.
Yeah, Buddy,
Not your son or something.
He used to be the Tibetan. He goes up on his 2 hind legs and starts scratching at the mirror, like nonstop.
Very good.
Maybe he's trying to teach me something.
Did he go to school to learn that?
Who knows?
That's catastrophic. Never mind. As a reflector, as in a city created by magic, there are all sorts of appearances, but they are not really there. Not there as we think they are. Always hold that thought. Seeing all the objects of your perception in this way, you come to understand that all these appearances are false by their very nature. Why is this? Well, when His Holiness explains emptiness, we'll see what's going on with our even physical perception. When you look into the nature of the subject that perceives them, the mind, those objects that appear to it do not stop appearing, but the concepts that take them as having any true existence subside. To leave the mind in the realization of the nature of reality, empty yet clear like the sky, is transcendent wisdom. He's saying the perceptions are wrong and we make the wrong mental conclusions, but when the perceptions get straight, the mind comes to a good realization. We're not going to go to 6 transcendent perfections divided into 3 and more of that, We'll go through. Summing up the essence, I'm going back now to skipping ahead to page 253. Summing up the essence of the transcendent perfections, Jetson Milarepa. Perfectly give up belief in any true existence. And again, technically, when they use the word true, something is true when it exists as it appears. Its mode of being is exactly as it appears. Then it's true. But that's not the case with us, because inherent existence appears, and that's not the mode of being that we get at through analysis. There is no other generosity than this. Perfectly give up guile and deceit. There is no other discipline. Perfectly transcend all fear of the true meaning. There is no other patience. Perfectly remain inseparable from the practice. There is no other diligence. He's going through the 6 paramitas. Perfectly stay in the natural flow. There is no other concentration. Perfectly realize the natural state. There is no other wisdom. Perfectly practice Dharma in everything you do. There are no other means. Perfectly conquer the 4 demons. There is no other strength. Perfectly accomplish the twofold goal. There is no further aspiration. Recognize the very source of negative emotions. There is no other primal wisdom. And now he's giving Atisha's advice, which we've gone through before. So relax. This is just a whole bunch of pieces of advice. You've probably heard them before. We recite them every few months in class. One ku, knock, and drum. You know those 3, right? No? Those are Atisha's main students. And the drum being Drum Tampa, the layperson that appeared magically when Atisha was coming to Tibet. Who's the best scholar? The best scholar is one who has realized the meaning of the absence of any true existence. Okay? The best monk is one who has tamed his own mind, or the best nun, her own mind. The best quality is a great desire to benefit others. The best instructions is always to watch the mind. The best remedy is to know that nothing has any inherent reality. You want to clean everything? That's it, the universal solvent. There it is. The best way of life is one that does not fit with worldly ways. You can challenge all of these. You can add whatever you like. You don't agree, say. The best accomplishes a steady lessening of negative emotions. That's true. I can handle things I couldn't handle a year ago. That's spiritual practice. Don't expect flashes of light and you fall off the horse and then you're enlightened. No, you're not even riding a horse. What are you going to fall? So that's the way it is. The best sign of practice is a steady decrease of desires. I can suddenly do without these things that used to pull me here and there. Chocolate chip cookies or whatever, right? Nice.
For me, for you.
The best generosity is non-attachment, because the mind is poised to be generous. Does that make sense? The best discipline is to pacify the mind. What's the best patience? To keep a humble position. You remember Rinpoche, Chungla Rinpoche was known for his humility. The best diligence is to give up activities. Well, you got to do certain things. Eugene, from now on, don't go to work. Yeah, right. Try that for size. The best concentration is not to alter the mind. And the best wisdom is not to take anything at all as truly existing. Now, not alter the mind has a footnote on it, so I want to see what he has to say. I should have outlined it and memorized it, but I didn't.
Just a comment. The problem with don't go to work is difficult for other
Yeah,
people.
if you have to. I mean, they're talking to a crowd of monks that,
Yeah.
went around with their bowls, got anything to eat, and that was it. Not these days, guys. So no. Oh, what is it? Okay, here. The best concentration is not to alter the mind. What does that mean? And the footnote says, this means neither suppressing thoughts nor following them. Let them roll, in other words. Nor deliberately trying to alter the state of one's mind or to achieve a specific state of meditation. All deluded thoughts are, in a sense, alterations of the natural flow of awareness. I want to calm down. Yes, I want open sky in my mind. The natural awareness takes all of that. Get rid of these compulsive thoughts or projecting thoughts that you have about what kind of meditation you want to have, and let the rigpa, the natural awareness, come up. And so that's what that means. That's a nice note. I should have marked it. All right. And what does Rigzen Jigme Lingpa said? Now we're hearing from Jigme Lingpa. So you get a good, this guy is very all-encompassing. Transcendent generosity is found in contentment. That's amazing. That's different psychology than we're used to. Transcendent generosity is found in contentment. Its essence is simply letting go. Discipline is not to displease the three jewels. The best patience is unfailing mindfulness and awareness. Unfailing mindfulness and awareness. Diligence is needed to sustain all the other perfections. Concentration is to experience as deities all the appearance to which one clings. That's a big one. You see everything as a deity, all forms, all sounds a mantra. Everything is pure. Everyone's a Vira and Varini, as the prayer goes. I don't know, on the bus sometimes when you're being pushed, or I don't know. We got to see that this.
Some of them would be wrathful, I suppose.
Maybe. Yeah, it looks like I found all of those. Wisdom is a self-liberation of grasping and clinging. You get rid of it, then you're wise. In it, there is neither thinking nor thinker, a pointed out person. When you start doing that thinker, thinking, I'm thinking, you're out of the flow of pure awareness. It is not ordinary. It is free from fixed convictions. It is beyond suffering. It is supreme peace. Do not tell this to everyone. Keep it sacred in your own mind. This was written by Linda. Do not tell this to anyone. To put it in a nutshell, what kind of a nut? Pecan? No, we're not going to. To put in a nutshell the whole vast path of the Bodhisattva's teachings, including the 6 transcendent perfections, it could be summarized in its entirety as emptiness of which compassion is the very essence. Saraha says this in the Dohas. Saraha was way back, mystic person. And his poems he wrote were Dohas, poems for the king, for the queen, for the ordinary people. And he's making this point that the emptiness of which compassion is the very essence. That's strange to think about. We usually say there's wisdom and method, there's emptiness, there's compassion over here. And he's saying compassion is the essence of emptiness, something like that. He explains in this poem, the Songs of Saraha, you may have seen. Without compassion, the view of emptiness will never lead you to the sublime path. Oh, now we get it. Okay. Yet meditating solely on compassion, you remain within samsara. So how could you be free? So they have to unite. Male, female, sometimes, they symbolize wisdom as female, compassion as male. They must unite. But he who comes to possess both of these will neither in samsara nor in nirvana dwell. They transcend both categories. To dwell neither in samsara nor in nirvana is the non-dwelling nirvana. Non-abiding nirvana, maybe sometimes they translate in some of the texts, of the level of total Buddhahood. As Lord Nagarjuna says, emptiness of which compassion is the very essence is only for those who want enlightenment. So that's it. And then he goes through Ram Tampa's talk, which goes on and on. Let's see how much time we have, because His Holiness's little talk is actually a step-by-step meditation that we can do. It's very interesting. Well translated by Guy Newland. Great guy. We'll do a little more advice from Geshe Karak Gomchong. I don't know who this guy is, but Zapatrul is supposed to be a wandering yogi. It said it turns out to be a very, very erudite scholar that quotes on the spot a lot of stuff. So he was both. He was somebody you could really trust. Geshe Karak Gomchit said, it's no use taking all the vows from those of refuge up to the tantric surmise unless you turn your mind away from the things of this world. It's no use constantly preaching the Dharma to others unless you can pacify your own pride. Big point. It's no use making progress if you relegate the refuge precepts to the last place. Should be the first place. It's no use practicing day and night unless you combine this with bodhicitta. So there's some advice. The heart essence advice, or whatever you want to call it, intik. So, now, this is how to go about an analytic meditation. So we're just doing that we'll do that, rather, by reading this text very slowly. So this starts on page 148 of this book called From Here to Enlightenment. It was a lecture on the Lamrim given in Lehigh, Pennsylvania, Lehigh College. In Lehigh, Pennsylvania, yeah, early 20th century, very late 19th, I don't know. Yeah, early 20th, 21st, excuse me. So we'll start on page 148 where he starts talking about Arya Davis 400. What he's going to do now is show us how, through our perception and the way we think behind these perceptions, we create an idea of inherent existence. And that's the thing that causes all the trouble. That's the thing that's veiling us from getting out of samsara and actually from omniscience. So, Arya Davis 400 says, this is page 148, the seed of cyclic existence lies in consciousness. Object or the field of experience of this consciousness. So, cyclic existence, samsara, is in the mind. It's not in Chicago or someplace that you can go to. So, I don't know why I picked Chicago. Maybe the middle of the country. Seeing the lack of self in these objects ends the seed of cyclic existence, which is really our grasping at the self. So we create this whole thing. It's a joke that we're creating ourselves. Not a joke, a terrible joke. To eradicate the very basis of cyclic existence, we have to bring about within ourselves a genuine understanding that the self at which we grasp does not in fact exist. All right, we heard this a lot, so now how do you do that? Here's how. So here's how we work on ourselves, I think he would say. If the self at which we grasp did exist, the sense of I, it does somehow exist, but what would it be like? By saying it did exist, he means inherently exist, because that's what we think existence is in our current state of confusion. So we have to bear that in mind. Think about that. What would be the implication of its existence? Suppose it did exist as we see it inherently. We have to use reason to analyze this very critically, His Holiness says. To do this, we must first identify the manner in which we grasp at this notion of self. This is called identifying the object of negation. So the sense of I, what is it? Let's talk about it. How do we feel it? What do we do behind it? Then through analysis, we can demonstrate that the self at which we grasp does not really exist. When we understand the total non-existence of this self, then we can take that understanding to heart, familiarize ourselves with it, and gain a strong conviction. This is the only way to eliminate that grasping. So we're going to look at this I that seems to be very strong, giving us all the orders all the time. We're protecting it. We're doing this and that. So it better not insult us. This is me. So what is the status of that thing? Where did it come from? How does the self that is the object of negation relate to our personal experience? Yes. We have to examine how the sense of self arises in us naturally. The thought, I am. Je pense, donc je suis. I think, therefore I am, whatever it is, is a very natural sense of selfhood that we all have. It's natural, it's there, he's not saying that. However, if we examine this carefully, we will see that within our core sense of self, especially when the sense of self manifests in a strong form. What does he mean by that? Somebody accuses you of something you didn't do, you're extremely mad, you're this or that, you're extremely fearful, you're overly joyful. There's a sense of, hey, if you could step aside a little and point at that self inside yourself, wait a minute. You'll see it in its nakedness, how strong it is, it appears to be. And then, through your analysis, that was only something that we nominated for convenience sake. We just named it. We just put it there. It's not there. It doesn't do anything. So, strong form, there is an underlying supposition or assumption. We suppose this, but it's not true. We assume that the self somehow exists in between the body and the mind. Okay, so that's the sense we have. There's I. Well, it's not my body. It's not my mind. There's still I. Where the hell is it? His Holiness always says, where's I? And this is what he's talking about. And there's a whole bunch of meditations you could do. If it was my body, it would be this. If it was my mind, it would be that. The mind changes. That means the self changes. What? Where? You go through these analytics and then you realize it's the wrong sense that we have. It's very ingrained, so it feels natural. You are going to get insulted if somebody, you say, that's a terrible hat you're wearing, or whatever. But it doesn't have any strong root. It's a supposition and assumption. It exists somewhere between the body and the mind. It's something separate from them, over and above them. Yeah, the I is running the body. Now the I is running the mind. Now I'm going to think about this. Hello? This is very scary sometimes you look at these things. But so we feel or assume that what we call I, the referent of our sense of self, has some kind of concrete reality. Very strong. It's there. Of course it's there. Yeah. Of course. No, we never looked carefully. We never challenged the assumption. And we can't on our own. That's why we rely on teachers. If we didn't have them, we'd be circling forever. So there's something separate from them, over and above them. We feel or assume that what we call I, the referent of our sense of self, has some sort of concrete reality. It seems to be self-defining. Yes, the I, that's it. Self-sufficient, able to set itself up. Oh, really? All these things you should now look into. How does it set itself up? Hell, what's going on here? What kind of twisted thoughts made that into something that it really isn't? Yes, designate I, and he's him, and he's you. But we go about it adding more to that. I, and it's a big fort. No, it ain't. No, it's not. And as we have that sense, and we have that sense not only about ourselves, we relate to everything else in just the same way. Things have a concrete existence on their own, set themselves up. They're not dependent on cause and existence. Our perceptions say this is this, that's that, and the mind runs after that perception. Or is it the perception running after the mind that's causing it? Here's another one that you play with, But something's going on there. So, when we perceive something externally, we tend to regard that object as if it existed, he says, in its own right, out there where we see it. It seems like something that we can point our finger at and pin down. It seems to occupy a specific space, etc. Well, yeah, it does. And everybody's with a bottle of water, whatever. Yeah, doesn't it? Probably. Yes, in a certain way, but not as strong as we think. There are when you start to tear it down, there are conditions. Someone put this there, someone made that, whatever. A lot of causes and conditions. But on the perception level, that's not considered. How do we consider that? By training the mind, and eventually the mind affects the perception. So we have to, it's not, some schools think that, everything we see with the senses is pure, but then the mind twists it. No, twists it. Prasangika school says that whole perception itself is somewhat corrupt. It's an assumption of inherent existence. Not just that You see something really pure the way it is, and then the mind twists it and gives you a wrong understanding. Not exactly. So that's a tricky topic and has to be thought about and studied somewhat. When we say that such self-grasping is deluded, we do not mean that the person, that the mental and physical aggregates do not exist. We're not saying that. You might say do not exist in the way we assume, because we're talking about it, so there's some level of being there. The person exists. We can speak of the persons having a past rebirth and a future rebirth, the person having a job, a better job than they had before. We can talk about that. We can make distinctions between one person and another. That's fine. The person as a unique individual does exist. So you do have to pay your taxes. Don't use that argument, the transcendent argument, in front of the IRS. It won't work. What is being negated is the person's existence in a particular manner in which we tend to assume that the person exists. So this is it. Same thing. The way we think it is ain't, isn't, whatever. Does that make sense? It's the assumption that's wrong. But it looks like it's, that's everyone knows it. No, everyone doesn't. So we assume that the person exists as a separate, self-sufficient reality. Well, if that's the case, let's examine the person. Someone had to give birth to their body, etc. So it wasn't, the physical form isn't self-existent. The mental thing came from somewhere else, is constantly changing. Something different here. Even before we think about things, even at the level of our sense perception, he's going to reiterate what we just discussed. Things appear as solid, concrete realities, things able to exist on their own power. This now makes sense when you hear about all these yogis who can pass through walls, who to see this, and it's different ways. Their perception is not as ours is. So I always tell the story. I asked through a translator why it's Geshe Yonten Gyatso's monastery was called Gomang, which means many doors. There's always a lot of doors. It's because we have a lot of meditators there that don't need doors, they can go through the walls. This is through a translator. I don't know how accurate, but it was very funny. I thought that. So he's sort of hinting at something, which of course went over my head. Some Madhyamaka teachers do, here's now the difference we're talking about, and this is a subtle difference, which is a distinction between Prasangika and the lower schools. Some Madhyamaka teachers do contend that the perceptions of true existence arises only at the level of thought, not at the level of the sensory experience. Yeah, the level of sensory is very pure, like as I just said, but thought screws it up. No. But here in Chandrakirti's Prasangika system, His Holiness says, what is being negated is very, very subtle. The subtle sense of inherent existence is already there at the sensory level. It's already there. No. So we have a lot of work to do. Our perceptions of self are feeding us corrupt data, you might say. Yeah? Then, based upon that perception, we think of and grasp at things as existing in this way. This is not just theory, this is real. This is what causes all the trouble. I mean, it's a little unwieldy to think these things through, but the rewards are great. You don't have to worry about death or anything else if you can realize these things. Based on that perception, we think of and grasp at things as existing in this way. We affirm in thought what we have perceived. It looks like that? Yeah, that's the way it is. So we're affirming an ignorant way of seeing things and going about our business based on that. And that's where the Lamas say all the trouble starts. All your suffering is created. So it's worth it to look into this a little. No matter what it costs. No matter what the tuition is. Taking things to have whatever kind of reality they seem to have when they appear to our senses. That's the way things are, that's it. And the whole world thinks this way. Don't think that this is something nobody does. Everyone does. In the case of the person, We appear to ourselves as possessing inherent existence, so we accept and affirm that perception, and we grasp at it. We hold it. That's it. There's no more discussion. Shut up. That's where we are. We grasp. Grasp is a dirty word in Tibetan Buddhism, but we grasp. This grasping conception of inherent existence, not the mere existence of the person. In Tibetan, they use the word sam to say mere. In other words, without supposing an inherency in the objects we see, not adding there. The word inherent means to tag, like they say, the derivative of the word in Tibetan is like to put feathers on an arrow. In other words, you're putting something there that isn't there. You're putting something there. We're putting something there, inherent existence, that isn't there. And we're operating on that basis, and of course, we're wrong. Of course, the whole world is operating on that basis. Animals, everyone. But it's not pure vision. That's a tricky word. I shouldn't use that, but inherent existence itself, the content of that misconception needs to be disproven. So that's the work we have to do in our thinking time, in our analytical time. Read as much as you can, hear somebody else express it in a different way. Different schools talk about it in a different way, but they mean the same thing. If you're careful, don't get thrown off track. It's good to stay with one school's presentation because all the terms are the same and there's some consistency. But if you can figure things out, sometimes it helps to hear the same argument from a different point of view. Oh, that's what they're talking about. So the more you read, the better off. That's, Chung's advice to me constantly. Read. You don't read. So now we read. The seventh Dalai Lama writes powerfully on this subject, His Holiness says. And he knows because he's now the 14th of the same guy. He was the seventh Dalai Lama. He says that when our minds are intoxicated with sleep, various events and objects arise in our dreams. Within our dreams, we take things to be real, to exist just as they appear. Right. We're in a dream, and all of a sudden we're walking down the street here. Did someone come in and put sets up and everything and populate it with actors? No, it's all in our mind. So we have these dreams of having a sandwich over here, whatever, Within our dreams, we take things to be real, to exist as they appear. But in fact, nothing that appears in dreams exists as it appears at that time. It is all unreal. Some people think, this is the secret. This is what reality... No. It's projections of your mind. If you have a pure mind or something, your dreams are a little different. Or if you're lucid dreaming and things like that. We're not talking about that. We're talking just to make the point that we get so excited, we get fearful, we get happy in our dreams, and it's all... I got to go to work. Hold on, the alarm rings. So he's showing that unreality of the dream is similar to the unreality we're projecting as we're running around the city or wherever we go. Same thing, I think. Within our dreams, we take things we exist, but in fact, nothing that appears in dreams exists that it appears at that time. It's all unreal. Likewise, in our everyday life, we are intoxicated by the deep sleep of delusion that grasps at inherent existence. So when things appear to our minds, they seem to have objective, independent reality. It's heavy. How our perceptions of things existing in that way, however, our perceptions thinking of things existing in that way are baseless and unfounded. We never challenge them. We take them for granted. So how do you challenge them? You got to start analyzing. And that's what he's doing here. Even though the objects of our senses have no intrinsic reality at all, and we have to understand what he means by that. It's hard to understand that, but with time it'll come. Each object appears to us as though it had a self-instituting, self-defining reality of its own. And people do, and we think that way of ourselves. Because we are under the spell of delusion. This is bad news here. We're under the spell of delusion. It appears to us that things exist in their own right, objectively. The context of this distorted perception is the subtle object of negation. We got to get rid of that. So that's the target. So he's defined the target. We must refute it comprehensively without leaving a trace. And he has a footnote, 163. We always go to the footnotes. Our lives depend on it. Well, future lives anyway. And he's telling you get this from the Songs of Mind Training by the 7th Dalai Lama Kesang Gyatso. Translated by Glenn Mullen in Meditations to Transform the Mind. The title of the book is Meditations to Transform the Mind, Snowline Publications, 1999. So if you're interested in exploring this topic, get your hands on that book, Meditations to Transform the Mind. There may be one upstairs under a different title, maybe Songs of Spiritual Change or something. You see if it's there. But anyway, if you want to track the book down, that's what his recommendation is. So that has to be refuted. How? First, examine it. This is a lot of crap. Is this for real? Come on. What do they mean inherent exists, intrinsic exists? You got to read. You got to get used to the terms on the gut level. On a level where, wait a minute, yes, this is starting to make sense. Then you're naturally motivated to look more. And then when you realize, what are the benefits of doing this? Well, I won't have any fear anymore. I'll gradually go to my full involvement as a Buddha, which I'm destined to do. So those are the things that you prep yourself with, to incent yourself, as they say, with those reasons. Consider also the explanation of Gongtang Rinpoche. He says that when we cultivate the view of emptiness, we set out to understand the nature of things. What are they? What is this? In that process, we do not find any inherent existence. If it existed inherently, then all those reasons that they throw at you, the sevenfold and all that, you go through them all. With a normal mind, you don't have to have one point. It'd be nice if you had one point in mind, not disturbed, in a blissful state. You'd really advance. But with our ordinary thinking mind, a little at a time, it's difficult, this stuff. So you take small bites. You don't overeat. So in that process, we don't find any inherent existence. This non-finding of inherent existence in itself constitutes the negation of inherent existence. That's it. As we say 10,000 times, you don't sit around looking for emptiness. You look for inherent existence. You don't find it. That's empty. Empty of what? Empty of inherent existence. And so that's a simple thing to think about. In general, failing to find something does not prove the non-existence of that thing. No, technically not, unless it's within a certain context. For instance, you could say, in this room, is RuPaul here? We look around. None of us is RuPaul. We can conclude RuPaul does not exist in this room. Something like that. But this is a big thing in Buddhism, because when you want to negate something, you have to prove its non-existence. You have to actually prove it. Prove its non-existence. So prove the non-existence of this inherent idea that we have of things. Prove it. That's what we're setting about. In general, failing to find something doesn't exist. Okay. But what about a situation where something should certainly be findable when properly sought, and we then have searched for it scrupulously and fail to find it? In such a case, not finding something entails its non-existence. If you do the thorough job, and you can do a thorough job as X in the room, and you go around the whole room, X is not there. Okay, thoroughly, X does not exist in the room. He might exist in somewhere else. So, but in general, if you do an analysis, and that's what takes time, because you have to convince yourself of the certainty of this position, because it goes against everything we thought through all our lives. That's a big deal. That's why it's important to have certainty. Inherent existence is like that. If it were real, we should find it when we search. It is negated when we fail to find it under analysis of the nature of things. Gongtang then points out that this does not at all imply the non-existence of the basis upon which you understand emptiness, the things that are empty of inherent existence. We're not saying the I doesn't exist. We're not saying the book doesn't exist or something. It doesn't exist inherently. It has to be set up, its causes. And the I is also simply, Chung used to call it a nomination. He was very fascinated with the way they nominate someone to be president. Yeah, nomination. He was very, very excited about that. We nominate things. and then we run with that, forgetting it's a convenient designation. That's all. When the mind does that, it naturally takes away its expansive clarity, its panoramic view of everything, its omniscience that's underneath everything. We've squeezed it down. This and that's that. Good luck. Over many lifetimes have done that. So that's the story here, we think. We'll find out. So the mere existence of something is left untouched. Yes, it's a thing we talk about, the phone, the this, the that. But everyone else mixes the thing itself with inherent existence. Someone is coming to our door. Is it ice? Who knows? Hello?
Hi, it's me,
Who is me?
Carol
Carol who?
Walker.
Walker. Oh, I see. Do you inherently exist, Carol, or are you just designated by a designating consciousness, namely ours?
I'm here because you're here.
Oh, I see.
I was actually outside putting up a fence so that the deer could...
Over here?
The little, you know... Where
Oh, yeah, where you did your tulip
tulips are
garden?
coming up, yeah.
Not yet. It's going to go down below freezing again. Don't get
You
fooled.
didn't see the buds are all coming
They
out.
did? No, I didn't.
That's what they... And if they eat those,
We're screwed.
no tulips.
No tulips. Oh, I see. Very good, Carol. The Tulip Report has been brought to you by Scott's Fertilizer.
I'm so sorry.
So, on the level of nominal existence, mere conventional existence, we all agree to call this a phone. We all agree to call him Eugene, whatever. We don't call you Eugene. We agree to call you Carol, or your parents did. That's common, okay, nothing wrong with it, right? On that level of nominal existence, mere conventional existence, we have to be able to posit the workings of cause and effect, etc. A lot of people assume because things don't inherently exist, there's no cause and effect. That thing, on the contrary, because things don't inherently exist, there's cause and effect. There's things that are workable. They're not in a static form of reality, unaffected by anything. So that's very important. On the level nominally mere conventional, the cause and effect exist and function. That cause and effect do exist and function. The relationships still work without inherent existence. This is something you'll have to affirm in the light of your personal experience of the world. You have to go and prove this to yourself on your own. That's it. And that's the whole thing in Buddhism, always. You're thrown on yourself to come to the answer. It doesn't say, you have to believe this and that's it, and shut up, don't answer. You have to prove this to yourself. You have to go through the path of evolvement to Buddhahood, which is your destiny, whether we like it or not. I mean, we've got to... Gungtang calls this arriving at the right point, I'll say. So, good old Gungtang. We may use Nagarjuna's fivefold reasoning to analyze the inherent existence. There's a lot of this, fivefold, sevenfold, cause and all this stuff. Not cause and effect. No, sevenfold reasoning is different. The person and the aggregates in relation to which it is designated are neither identical nor different. The same or different argument. Neither exists as an essential core within the other, and they are not interdependent by way of some essential property or inherent relation. This fivefold analysis becomes a sevenfold analysis if we add the consideration that the person is not the mere collection of aggregates and is not the shape of that collection. All right, this is getting weedy now. We're in the weeds. Congratulations. Very simple, though. I could think of it as like the parts of the car, etc. So one of the parts all laid out, suddenly called a car. When things come together enough to say, oh, that's a car. That's all. Laying on the side, everything, oh, there's a carburetor, there's this, there's that, there's that. Start to put them together. It's a car. We designate it. And then that's enough. You know, you build a foundation, all of a sudden it's going to be a house, and all the frame. It's a house, somehow. That's all. It's not casting concrete, the sense you're making concrete house. Concrete house, you know, that's it, you know. So there's your homework. Crack open Nagarjuna and have a good time. I don't know. He's thick. No, the best thing to do is, there's so much on TV, YouTube videos of all these great teachers around. His Holiness, the Nyingma teachers, the Kagyu teachers. Books abound. You just got to give it time. And of course, don't get frustrated. It's very hard to understand this. It comes upon you slowly from underneath. The mind is taking all this in. I don't understand. How many times have I thrown books around the house, you know?
Isn't the whole point of cause and effect? I mean, it's, and then the argument for inherent existence, right? Or independent. How do you phrase it?
Independent, self-sufficient, whatever.
But
In other words, not in any relational situation.
nobody is
Nothing
inherent, right?
reciprocal. If things really as our perception, this is this, that's that, things couldn't be formed out of something else. It's there. We're making an assumption that nothing was ever built and put together and all that. We know that the house was put together and all
Right.
that, and it's going to decline. But we don't on a perception level. We start moving pieces around in our mind as if this is there, this there, and that causes trouble. So-and-so's this way, and that person's always going to be that way. Not really. Sometimes they change.
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
But if things were, the idea of inherent existence assumes a static reality.
Then nothing changes.
Nothing changes,
And that's
and
not
nothing
true.
interacts.
And that's not true.
And that's not true, of course. You feel great, and 10 minutes later you feel like crap.
So
Obviously, this feeling great wasn't inherently existent, because it would always be there.
Right, but then it's the same action viewed two different ways, right? Cause and effect in karma, and cause and effect in the relationship between things. Like,
Yeah, cause and effect. It's just cause this, you do this, that happens. It may not happen for 10,000 centuries, you know. A glacier moves, then starts moving. That's it, but it doesn't matter. There's causality. The word is causality. So, and this fascinates physics researchers, blah, 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 and all that. Look into it. There's a lot of stuff on it. It's very tedious sometimes. Read some of it, then open a joke book or something, you know, whatever. Or watch the news. No, don't do that. You're wasting your time. Anyway, so that's a lot. But this book itself, From Here to Eternity, From Here to Enlightenment, From Here to Eternity, Here to Enlightenment, they give it a Hollywood title. It's just a lecture on the Lamrim. It's very helpful. His speech is exactly an analytical meditation. He's going step by step in his explanation. You read it 4 or 5 times, 6 times, put it aside, come back 2 weeks later, a year later, see what happens to your mind. These things have an effect because they're representing reality. It's not something that's contrived. So, and that's very healthy for the mind. Speaking of healthy, Darren, do we have any names? Besides the squirrel, the squirrel, Melissa Nachamkin, and Madeline Lynn Palombini. So with these 2 people we're praying for, in addition to whoever you wish to pray for, the people killed in all these wars. So Melissa Nachamkin and Madeline Lynn Palombini. Sutra of the Recollection, Noble 3 Jewels. I prostrate to the Omniscient One. Thus the Buddha, Bhagavat, Tathagata, Arahat, Samyak Sang Buddha, the learned and virtuous one, the Sugata, the knower of the world, the charioteer and tamer of beings, the unsurpassable one, the teacher of devas and humans is the Buddha Bhagavat. The Tathagata is in accord with all merit. He does not waste the roots of virtue. He is completely ornamented with all patience. He is the basis of the treasures of merit. He is adorned with the minor marks. He blossoms with the flowers of the major marks. His activity is timely and appropriate. Seeing him, he is without disharmony. He brings true joy to those who long with faith. His knowledge cannot be overpowered. His strengths cannot be challenged. He is the teacher of all sentient beings. He is the father of bodhisattvas. He is the king of noble ones. He is the guide of those who journey to the city of nirvana. He possesses immeasurable wisdom. He possesses inconceivable confidence. His speech is completely pure. His melody is pleasing. One never has enough of seeing him. His form is incomparable. He's not stained by the realm of desire. He's not stained by the realm of form. He is not affected by the formless realm. He is completely liberated from suffering. He is completely and utterly liberated from the skandhas. He is not possessed with dhatus. His ayatanas are controlled. He has completely cut the knots. He is completely liberated from extreme torment. He is liberated from craving. He has crossed over the river. He is perfected in all the wisdoms. He abides in the wisdom of the Buddha Bhagavats who arise in the past, present, and future. He does not abide in nirvana. He abides in the ultimate perfection. He dwells on the bhumi where he sees all sentient beings. All these are the perfect virtues of the greatness of the Buddha Bhagavat. The holy Dharma is good at the beginning, good in the middle, and good at the end. Its meaning is excellent. Its words are excellent. It is uncorrupted. It is completely perfect and completely pure. It completely purifies. The Bhagavat teaches the Dharma well. It brings complete vision. It is free from sickness. It is always timely. It directs one further. Seeing it fulfills one's purpose. It brings discriminating insight for the wise. The Dharma, which is taught by the Bhagavat, is revealed properly in the Vinaya. It is renunciation. It causes one to arrive at perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction. It is pithy. It is trustworthy and puts an end to the journey. As for the Sangha of the great Jnana, they enter completely, they enter insightfully, they enter straightforwardly, they enter harmoniously. They are worthy of veneration with joined palms. They are worthy of receiving prostration. They are a field of glorious merit. They are completely capable of receiving all gifts. They are an object of generosity. They are a great object of complete generosity. The protector who possesses great kindness, the omniscient teacher, the basis of oceans of merit and virtue, I prostrate to the Tathagata. Pure, the cause of freedom from passion, virtuous, liberating from the lower realms. This alone is the supreme ultimate truth. I prostrate to the Dharma, which is peace. Having been liberated, they show the path to liberation. They are fully dedicated to the disciplines. They are a holy field of merit and possess virtue. I prostrate to the Sangha. I prostrate to the Buddha, the leader. I prostrate to the Dharma, the protector. I prostrate to the Sangha, the community. I prostrate respectfully and always to these three. The Buddha's virtues are inconceivable. The Dharma's virtues are inconceivable. The Sangha's virtues are inconceivable. Having faith in these inconceivables, therefore the fruitions are inconceivable. May they be born in a completely pure realm. Before we do the next prayer, I'll give you some advice Rinpoche gave me. I can't understand this, I can't understand. So he said, make prayers, make wishing prayers. Make prayers thanking the translator, for instance. Here, Guy Newland, whatever good in the world may happen for him. Show gratitude and request the three jewels. Remember, these are omniscient beings. They hear you. They know what they're doing, and they can help you. Put that on the table also, and see if that doesn't help a few months down the road. It's a sincere wish to be able, I wish to understand this, but I can't. I'm confused. Simple. 8 verses on training the mind. With the determination to accomplish the highest welfare of all sentient beings who surpass even a wish-granting jewel, I will learn to hold them supremely dear. Whenever I associate with others, I will learn to think of myself as the lowest amongst all, and respectfully hold others to be supreme from the very depths of my heart. In all actions, I will learn to search into my mind, and as soon as a disturbing emotion arises, endangering myself and others, I will firmly face and avert it. I will learn to cherish ill-natured beings and those oppressed by strong misdeeds and sufferings, as if I had found a precious treasure difficult to find. When others out of jealousy treat me badly, with abuse, slander, and so on, I will learn to take all loss and offer the victory to them. When the one whom I had benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. In short, I will learn to offer to everyone without exception all help and happiness directly and indirectly, and respectfully take upon myself all harm and suffering of my mothers. I will learn to keep all these practices undefiled by the stains of the 8 worldly concerns, and by understanding all phenomena as like illusions, be released from the bondage of attachment. Prayer for the swift return of Rato Chungla Rinpoche, written by His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. Exalted wisdom of all victors gathered in a drop. Sole refuge manifest in the form of the one wearing saffron robes. Guru Lozang Tubuang Dorje Chang. Please bear witness here today that our prayers may be fulfilled. We beseech the great torch of doctrine, accomplishing from long ago the vast waves of aspirational prayers, Lord of speech of the Victor Losang's teachings, spreading them to the ends of the earth by means of explanation and practice. Though holding the commitment, I will invite all beings to be my guests in unsurpassed great awakening. Yet you have withdrawn the activities of the form body that serves the welfare of others. Is that worthy of the supreme among beings, the Bodhisattvas? Though impossible for you till cyclic existence's end, to abandon your commitment to liberate all beings, we beseech the new son of Nirmanakaya to swiftly return from the realm of Dharmakaya, brought forth by bodhicitta drawn by 7 steeds. Having reached the far limits of scholarship, religious life, and goodness, please come swiftly as an unrivaled supreme emanation, full holder of the sage's teachings and wish-fulfilling jewel. Return as the glory of Losang Tenpei. Magnificent truth of the 3 precious jewels, Mahakala, Karmayama, and Sri Mata Devi, and the ocean of Dharma protectors. May you spontaneously fulfill our wish, the swift blossoming of the reincarnation's fresh moonlight face. So this concludes tonight's presentation. There is no White Tarot this Saturday, this weekend. The next Dharma class will be the 16th, Monday night at, I can't remember, 150 West 31st Street.
151?
151 West 30th Street, exactly. I was dyslexing it. Hey. So yes, 151 West 30th. Baseball throwaway from Penn Station, Midtown Manhattan, between 6th and 7th. On the website, thetibetcenter.org, you'll find everything you need to know. And the class after that will be Wednesday night again back here at the Parsonage, which will be the 18th, the day after St. Patrick's Day. So I hope you don't have a hangover from that. Anyway, again, thanks to translator Guy Newland. I hope every time he goes in Starbucks, they serve him right away. How's that? And he gets a spot, whatever. No, definitely, we are dependent on it. So thank you for your patient listening. Big love to all of you.
Thank you, Tony.
Quite welcome. Thank you. Thank the squirrel who now goes high. And that's that.